Cool. Welcome, everyone. All right. So I'll just give a quick intro and let's just jump right into it. And we have the recording going on. So for any late stragglers, they can just kind of view the recording to kind of catch up if they miss anything. So thank you, everyone, for joining us on this Wednesday morning or evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm really excited. I'm Brian, the Customer Success and Marketing Manager at Segments by Trussell. And so today we planned a really exciting webinar for you guys. We got John, who's the CEO of Segments by Trussell, and then we got Carly, who's the CEO at Email All Stars, which is a Klaviyo email marketing agency, Klaviyo only. And so I'll have them give their intros. So why don't we just jump right in? And today's topic is BFCM 2x your conversions with email marketing through data-driven customer segmentation. So I'll let John handle it from here.
Okay, all right, let me share my screen 1 second. So hopefully everybody can see my screen now. So again, thanks for joining us. So for this Black Friday, we took a look at our data across all of our customers, or 300 plus top brands with, well, let's just say analyzed about 27 million orders to give you some data insights that, and then we're going to talk about some of the data strategies and segmentation strategies today to really help our merchants get through Black Friday, which is the most stressful time of the year, with some pre-bill segmentation and some strategies that you can think about this year. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? So we're going to go a little bit about like what we're seeing in e-com right now in terms of the state of play. A quick section around why you need to segment your customers, in case that's not clear. And then we'll talk about some of the key themes we actually will be going through, like in terms of returning customers, post Black Friday, and then a breather about buy now, pay later. All right, Carly, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So I have been doing email marketing for about the last 4 years. We have a team of just about 50 now. We're actually 49 people as of today. And we work with anywhere around 100 clients at one time. We're all over the world. And with me specifically, I actually sat on Klaviyo's partner advisory committee for the last 18 months. So they chose 8 representatives from all of the agencies that work with Klaviyo in order to help them with some ideas around how they can improve their product. And that was really exciting. It was really an honor.
And how about Email All Stars?
So Email All Stars is a Klaviyo only email marketing agency. You can see some of the many brands that we've worked with. Actually, we're over 400 brands now that we've worked with in the last 4 years. And wow. I personally worked on over 200 of those. Also, another little note is that we are Klaviyo Platinum partners. So we're one of the top 3 partners that Klaviyo has, which is awesome.
Well, I see a lot of recognizable logos on there. What would you say is your special power, Carly?
Well, we do have great strategy, but I have to say that our creative team is pretty special. The amount of effort and time that goes into what they do is, I mean, you can see it in the designs that come out on the other end. So pretty great emails that make a lot of money.
That's awesome. We all love emails that are pretty. So a quick bit about myself. So my name is John Chow again. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Trussell, our product segments. So I've been in data science for like my entire career. I started in retail, did not join a marketing agency. And then before I started Trussell, I was at LinkedIn. I was there for about 4 years building machine learning models for sales and marketing teams. So a bit about myself is just I really believe sort of the human element in data. And so when we noticed that a lot of the technology or data science techniques are not available to a lot of our e-commerce merchants, we wanted to change that, right? Like I really wanted to build analytics a bit more compassionately and help everyone have a better connection with data and make better decisions. And so that's kind of why we started Trussell. And so a little bit about segments. My co-founder Tony and I, we met at LinkedIn. We're both data scientists. We sought to build a data marketing platform that gives all of our merchants the same, enterprise analytics capability and segmentation engine that big brands enjoy with their, unlimited resources. We've worked with thousands of brands on Shopify, and just recently, actually yesterday, it was announced that we are accepted into the Shopify Plus certified application program. so it's a privilege and a special honor. Like, we're really humbled by this. There's only 63 certified plus apps in the world, where there's like 6,000 plus Shopify apps. So it's truly special to be included in this club. We look forward to working a lot more with Shopify Plus brands as well to do more exciting things.
That is so awesome. Congratulations. That is
Thank
so
you so
exciting. That is really so cool.
Thanks so much. So okay, so let's get started. So it's a crazy time that we're in, right? So last year we saw COVID, we saw there's so much uncertainty, but then but at the same time we heard a lot of stories from brands like who just made like a year's worth of revenue in the span of like 1.5 months, right? This year the stories changed a little bit. We started noticing that it's becoming a little bit harder. The things are not flying off the shelf as much as last year was. And actually, overall, we noticed about a 14% decline in total orders year over year, right? And a small percentage, roughly about a quarter of the stores, actually saw sales drop by as much as 50% versus a year ago in 2020. And Carly, I don't know whether you've seen something like that or heard stuff from your clients around this same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we like to refer to it as like the second big e-commerce boom. And you're right, last year it was wild. Stuff was flying off the shelves. People were going out of stock. I mean, there still is a little bit of that now in certain industries, but overall, I would say that we're seeing the same as what your data is telling us. Like we're still working hard to try and figure out how to navigate the new waters. I mean, it's especially difficult for people on the Facebook, Instagram side of things. But I mean, I guess luckily for us, with everything that happened with Facebook and Instagram recently, is that people are learning, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. And segmentation of existing clients, the customer data you already own, is so important today.
That's so true, right? Like, I mean, you see what's happening, I mean, with Facebook in Congress, and you see what's happening with like at the iOS updates, and you hear about these, cookie and Chrome, cookie policies. I think in general, the data privacy is very front and center. People really care about how they want to be targeted, and the opt-ins, the first-party data through email marketing, like you have that, right? Like those are the things that can continue to drive profits for you if you know how to, execute them correctly. So definitely that's something we'll be talking a lot more about today. So here's a quick bit about customer segmentation, right? Like, I mean, Carly, why shouldn't we just email blast everyone?
Well, I mean, if you want to get blacklisted on a bunch of sites and you want your deliverability to be in the trash, that's a good idea. But yeah, absolutely should not do that. Please don't.
So, I mean, obviously that's kind of a setup question, but like we've seen time and time again, the data is telling us that when you segment your customers properly, right, we can see increases in email revenue, right? So the first one is from Inc. Magazine. They see 760% increase in terms of email revenue. Klaviyo has put out multiple case studies around increased click-through rates, 100% click-through rates in highly segmented emails, right? These are just some data points to help you set the stage, right? Like segmentation is just a good idea that all the marketing teams should be doing already. And we're going to talk about a little bit more about some of the strategies today. But the first, I mean, like super big, like high level points here, but no one's the same, right? Like we are all customers of some brand, right? Like, as much as we are sort of marketers, we are always at the mercy of someone else's marketing emails. Just think about how you like to be targeted, right? Like how something that is not personalized or something that is not relevant to you can turn you off right away to the brand, right? Like someone is too aggressive, too spammy, like you want to cancel them. Same thing with like purchase cycle. If I just bought something, like everybody hates to be retargeted right away about the same things. Like understanding the purchase cycle can make a world of difference. And I think Carly's going to get into some of those points a bit later.
Yeah, and even just on, your buyers aren't all the same. This is especially important for people who have multiple products, and especially if they're in kind of different niches. So for example, I'm thinking of a client that I worked with that had golf supplies and also had spa supplies. And segmentation was really important with that group. I mean, this is a very like clear-cut extreme example, but even within, single products, there are different avatars, there are different reasons that they're coming to you to buy. So if you can understand more about their purchase behavior or what sort of language that they're responding to, that's only going to help you target them better.
And then I guess this part, I think you were hitting on a little bit about the relevancy and blacklisting stuff. What did you mean by that?
So I want to talk a little bit about how Klaviyo's IP pools work here. We have seen in the past, it doesn't happen that often, but sometimes they'll want to get the most out of their Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales. So they'll just take their entire customer list, even if they were just recently sending only to the engage, and they'll just send to everyone right away. And the problem with that is you're sending to your engaged group for a reason, right? You're getting good open rates, you're having good deliverability. And if you suddenly start sending to this whole group and you're sending to them for the few weeks going on of Black Friday, Cyber Monday holidays, every 2 weeks, Klaviyo's IP pools reset. And essentially, if they start to see bad practices from you, you're going to start falling down in their IP pools. So if you were in the best pool, for example, most people are getting your emails. Like, they're not going to spam. Everybody's at least getting them, even if they're not opening them. But as you start to fall down, more and more and more emails are going to go to spam, go into junk, right? So it's really important to protect your reputation, because you can send to everyone, but then if you start missing emails to the people who actually matter, that isn't a great place to be, right?
Yeah, that's so true. You don't want to just open the floodgates and then change course. Yeah, that's really good to keep in mind. And finally, I mean, like, you can always do tests, right? Like, you can always test different campaigns to a segmented group and just try it and just see the results, right? Like, we've seen great results in terms of like sending highly segmented email and campaigns, and we want to help you do that. And you can always just experiment and just look at the results for yourself. But again, like, data is here to stay, segmentation is here to stay. I honestly would encourage everyone today to start investing in segmentation and looking at more around the data around purchasing habits and engagement. All right, so let's get into it. So our first topic we want to talk about is returning customers. So when we actually looked at the 27 million orders, like we noticed across all of our brands, we saw something that is like super telling, right? It's like 52% of all the orders, which is like 55% of revenue during Black Friday, are actually coming from returning customers, right? And this data has been backed up by Shopify, by Klaviyo, like multiple places. But returning customers are like more than half of the revenue during Black Friday, right? That's really good news, because we've always heard the old adage, like, keeping the customers you have is it's better than trying to acquire new customers. And time again, like, acquisition costs can go through the roof if you try to like do paid advertising, right? During the craziest time of the year, it may not be profitable for you. A lot of customers actually turn off their paid marketing during that time of the year, right? So you can still do really well if you execute on your returning customers, because those customers bring all the profits. On top of this, they're also buying more, right? So we see the average order value is about 10% higher for the returning customers during Black Friday. So not only are they representing a large portion of the revenue, but they're also buying more, right? So this is a segment you do not want to forget. And Carly's going to tell us a little bit more about like how we can think about the strategies during Black Friday for these customers.
Yes, absolutely. So these are the people that are likely not engaged. So we're talking about the coupon code customers from last year that haven't purchased again, or maybe they have purchased again. The guys are likely in the engaged segment already. And what I really want to stress here is, again, around re-engaging those people. So of course, depending on the size of your list, you'll probably want to slowly start folding these people in. But what I really want to drive home here is that you want to sell at the highest price possible. So start sending content to these people, even if they're most likely to buy with the discounts. Start sending them content, start getting in front of them. I mean, imagine, you know, probably 99% of the online brands in the world are going to be hammering their list over the next few months. And you want to get in front of them so that they start thinking of, they see the product and they're like, oh, that might be good to buy for this person. Or, oh, I remember I bought that last year and I really liked it. Or this person really liked it. I want to give it to this person. Mm-hmm. So instead of waiting to send them an email, maybe an early Black Friday sale or on Black Friday, when they already know what they're going in to get because they've been primed by other brands, like you want to get in and you want to prime those customers as well. So start sending them content. On the next slide here, we actually have a sample of an email that we sent last year. I know you can't really see it, but I'll talk you through the strategy. So we re-engaged older customers, and we started off by sending a bunch of content, and then we got to this email. So I'll read it out to you here so you have an idea of what it actually says. It says, take up to 50% off tomorrow. It's the gist of that first part, and then pick your flavor now. So they sold cereal, and so they wanted everybody to go to the site, go and see what they have, get excited now, pick out what you want now, and then wait for that email to come tomorrow. Get excited for it, literally sit at their computer. They know the time that it's coming, and they can immediately order what they want. And the urgency behind that, kind of the fear of missing out, is that a little bit further down in that email, which you can't see, we tell them about the strategy or the discounts that are going to be coming out the next day. So it's like one person gets 50% off, 10 people get 40% off, 25 people get 25% off, and 100 people get 10% off. And so they want to be the first ones to get in and get those higher discounts. Everybody wants that, right? So you pull them in the next day, and then you can even keep sending the same email, versions of it throughout the next days, right? So cross off the first email and then send it out again. So, the 50% coupon was taken. We've still got a couple of these left. Cross the next one off, and then you send out another one, right? And generally at that point, little tip is to actually leave the bottom two discount codes unlimited so that people feel that they're actually getting a deal whenever they're not getting that last left coupon code. It's like, oh, there's still these ones left. And it gives that sense of urgency again, where they're still getting a better deal than the other people are getting. So
that's really clever.
yeah. So that's a cool strategy that we've used in the past that has been awesome.
And so how about the new customers? We talked about the 10-year customers. What about like new customers?
Yes. So this was the first thing about segments that I was so excited about, because whenever we're working with somebody new, I love to pull in this data because it is incredible and people are always shocked to see these stats. So if you can see that little graph there, literally when somebody comes to sign up on the site, they sign up in your pop-up and they go to the welcome emails, over 80% of people are buying within the first day. And look at that drop off from day 1 to day 2. It is significant. So if you don't have people buying within the first 2 to 3 days, I mean, the odds of them buying are just dwindling day after day after day. And really your first day is that main opportunity. So biggest focus, make sure that you're testing your pop-up, test the offers ahead of time, make sure that you're optimizing that for especially the season. If you're running a bunch of ads too, if you're spending a lot of money on ads, you want to capture as many of those people coming to your site as possible. And make sure that your welcome flow contains all the necessary conversion points. Again, this is your best shot at getting a new customer buy. So on the next slide here, I'll talk through a couple of these points. So social proof. I love this explanation because now that I'm a mom, I teach this to my team. So we'll be playing with cars and he'll have a car and I'll have a car and they could be the exact same car, but because I have the other one, he wants it. He wants to have that car. And it's like this
it's
social.
So true.
Honestly, he wants everything I have. This social proof is built into us just literally from infancy. We want what other people have. So including testimonials, right? Including testimonials with language that other people use regarding the product. So Yesterday, for example, I was going through a bunch of reviews for a client that I was working with, and the demographic is a bit older, and they kept using the words like precious, adorable, things like that. And so I pulled those words that I kept seeing, and we started using those in the content and using those testimonials specifically because those were the main words that people were saying. The authority building. So if you've been featured in any publications, honestly, it doesn't even necessarily matter how big they are. Like, it doesn't have to be Forbes. It doesn't have to be like something really well known, like BuzzFeed, even though, you know, BuzzFeed is more of kind of like a funny thing. Like, people just love to see that other people want to talk about you. Again, it's that other people love this brand. Like, it's okay for me to also love this brand. And then the objection handling. And you can do that in the copy, but you can also do it in very subtle ways. So let's say that, you know, one of the really big things right now is that people are worried that their products are going to ship from China and that it'll take 2 months to get to them, which obviously is not ideal. So let's say that your product ships in 3 days. That's something that you really want to highlight. Put a little badge that says product, you know, ships in 3 days, or maybe they're worried about shipping costs. Those can often be really high. So free shipping over $75. That's something that's really popular. Made in the USA, non-GMO, like all of these different things that people are really looking for, organic, stuff like that. If you have those highlights about your products, make sure to include them, because just because you know that that's one of the highlights doesn't mean that people that came onto your site really took the time to go and discover those things, right? You have to keep putting it in front of them. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
And so I mean, we saw the drop off, and I mean, like, it's crazy how consistent that is. You know, and I always tell the stores that we work with, is like, I mean, you know, people forget you about the same rate across different stores. You know, like, this is not like, it's not special. It's like, don't take it the wrong way, but people just drop off, like, you know, like really rapidly in the first couple of days. Is there any ideas how we could like maybe convert somebody who's past 3 days but they haven't purchased?
Yes. So this is, again, an extreme example, but it's like, I love these ideas. So something that we did with a brand last year, we tried a plain text email from the founder, and I'm speaking specifically actually about 30 days plus at this point. So we can also do similar tactics for people even on as early as day 3, because we saw how quickly they dropped off. So we sent an email from the founder, and the gist of it was that we were offering them essentially at cost what it was actually going to cost the brand in order to get this product to them, whether it was like a free sample and they just paid shipping and handling. Maybe it was free shipping on a sample that only cost them a couple of dollars. Like, really, we were just trying to get the lowest price point possible, or even if the cost was just shipping, to get them to try the product, because the product is one that people really loved. Like, this was a brand that, like, it was amazing to see how much their customers rallied behind them. So they were at a point where they just want people to try it. Just try it, you'll love it. So those kind of tactics are really interesting, and it doesn't have to be literally giving people stuff at cost. I know not every brand can do that, but it can be maybe upping the discount on day 3, or switching up the offer, giving something for free with it, or speaking to them in a different way. There are more subtle things that you can do as well, but you just have to remember that you do have to treat those people differently after that first day that they join you. So
yeah, 100%. It's across the board. We see a lot of customers with a big signups pool with no purchases, and it's a huge missed opportunity, to be honest. Okay, so we just talked a little bit about the returning customers, but I want to kind of sort of peel the onion a bit more on what we mean. Okay, so we just saw like about 55% of revenue come from returning customers during Black Friday, but they're not all the same, right? So when we actually break down when was the last purchase before they purchased again during Black Friday, like a really compelling story is in front of us, like, which is that almost 50% of the customers are recent purchasers, right? So they bought within 60 days and they came back again during Black Friday. So like all those people can be had again, right? Like it just because they just purchased does not mean they will not purchase again through Black Friday. And that should absolutely not be the same as your tenured customers, right? Like we saw how this, the sliding scale continues to go down until, guess what? Like, the holidays rolled around again, right? Like month 11, 12, 13, you see that bump on month 13 plus. There's a lot of people who are coming back to Black Friday and making that purchase when they get that that email that converts. So the data is bearing out the story. You can absolutely target your list, even older customers coming back, recent customers coming back, but they should not be treated the same.
So
what
I don't
do
want
you
to
mean by that? Yeah.
I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but there are two big things that I want to pull out of this. So number one, you have to re-engage those older customers that are waiting for the holiday season to come back and buy again. Whether or not your product is seasonal, that is just how some of our customers behave. And again, re-engage them beforehand. So that's really important. That's something that people forget. And not even if they just purchased last Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but if they had purchased in the past at all, and they churned at some point in the journey. So, I mean, if you're careful with folding those people in when you're re-engaging them, you can get some of those people back to come back and purchase again. You own that data, use it, right? Another thing, I know I've said this already as well, but aim for the highest purchase price. So yes, give those people who just purchased a break, give them 10 days or so, 14 days, whatever it is, and then come back to them and start giving them more content again, because you don't want to start hitting them immediately with the discounts. One thing that is like really critical here, what we've seen happen a lot, especially during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, whenever the big discounts are coming, people will literally, if their order hasn't fulfilled, they will cancel their order whenever they get the email that's like, here's 50% off, and they'll go and rebuy with the discount code. So you do want to be careful of people whose orders have not fulfilled, they have not received them, because that will absolutely happen. So just make sure to segment them out of those big sales if they haven't fulfilled.
Like another really good reason to segment your customers and not do like blanket promotions for everyone. Yeah, and there's one thing that you mentioned is like the purchase timing, right? Like we actually can see the purchase cycles. In our platform, we actually have this already pre-built, but you can absolutely do your own data analysis and just try to figure out the purchase cycle between your products, between how customers who are buying the first product and the second product, average it out and just say, hey, like, well, I'm just gonna wait. If it's 15 days, 21 days, I'm gonna wait a little bit. If they just purchased, they're on the bench, right? I'm not gonna retarget them with the offer. But if you're looking for data, more data insights help, like segments definitely have that for you.
Right. Yeah. So that's actually one of the things I tend to use the most, actually, is whenever I can see how often people are coming back to buy, then how safe it is to not email them for, a month might be a little bit extreme, but maybe it's 10 days, maybe it's 18 days. Whatever that is, but you can give them a little bit of a break so that you're not constantly berating them, even though they just purchased from you. So that is a very, very good tip.
Okay. Yeah. So just to quickly summarize with what we just talked about, right? So the two key takeaway is that returning customers are definitely really profitable during Black Friday. It could represent up to like 55% of your revenue. Second, the campaigns, right? Like you want to not treat your recent return customers, your tenured customers, as well as your new leads the same. Like those should definitely be treated differently, and you're going to get better results. Okay, so now the Black Friday is done, right? So let's all just, we can all go to sleep, right, Carly?
No, we email all year long.
Yeah, so like honestly, again, it's kind of a joke, but we actually took a look at the customers that you acquired during Black Friday, and we follow them, for the next 90 days just to see what they did, right? So the data is telling us a significant story here. Again, like the returning customers, if they came back again during Black Friday, they're likely to spend even more 90 days on, right? So how much more? 1.5 times more versus new customers. and they're buying around 2.3 orders during this 90 days versus 1.4 for new customers acquired during Black Friday. And we look across different metrics like number of orders, order value, items per order, and ARPU. Again, almost it's except that it's when it's a wash, roughly about a wash during Black Friday, AOV 90 days after. But you see that order is higher for returning customers. You see that average revenue is higher for returning customers. The only thing that is higher for the new customers is items per order, right? That's probably when they're first introduced to your brand. They're excited, they're trying out different products, or maybe in that offer you have, buy multiple items, right? Buy two, get one, buy two, buy three, get something. And they're increasing the number of items per order. And that's what the data is telling us. So like you spend all this time, getting them to purchase during Black Friday. You do not want to go to sleep. You do not want to it's the best time to actually target them again after Black Friday in the next 90 days. So there's so much more opportunity. And we have some good tips here lined up too, right, Carly?
Yeah, I have some samples to show.
Okay, let's go to the samples. Yeah, here we go.
Okay, so if you haven't noticed, I'm a big content person. I don't love to give discounts. Of course, there are some of those people that whenever you segment them out, you're going to notice that perhaps they saw the Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, they actually put something in their cart, and then maybe they didn't purchase. So there are special opportunities that you have with groups of people like that, where perhaps you can send a plain text email from the founder that's like it's like a little special, like a personal looking email that comes to them. It looks literally like the founder wrote it themselves, and it's like, hey, John, I saw that you didn't get to take that you didn't make it or didn't use one of the coupons that we had available on the Black Friday Cyber Monday sale. I saved one of them for you, and you have, it's available for the next 24 hours, something like that. Whenever you pair something like that, and I know John's going to talk about this in a little bit, but with a buy now, pay later type of message, because chances are that the reason that they didn't buy might have been that they didn't have the money for it, or that they got to the checkout and it still was like, oh, well, that's still kind of expensive. It really wasn't the discount that I was hoping to get. But now if you're still allowing them to have that discount option, and they also get to break it into 4 payments, like that's something pretty awesome. So you can do things like that. You can do special sales to the people who only use coupon codes. But there's so much content that we have during this Christmas season, whether it's gift guides, whether it's, reminding people that there are 3 days left to order in order to get it in time for Christmas. 24 hours left to order to get it in time for Christmas. And those people that only buy with discounts, maybe segmenting them out and sending them a discount with that email. So there's so much that you can do here. I showed some of my favorite ones from the last couple of years. I really love the fun brands that, we put a Santa hat on a cookie type of thing, but there's a lot you can do. Even our favorite cookie reviews from 2020. It's like you're sending testimonials to your customers, but you can do it in a way. Yeah, you can do it in a way that looks really cool though, and it's fun, and you can add that fun voice to it if that goes along with your brand, of course. But yeah, those are just some ideas.
Okay, so yeah, so what we talked about here, right? So clearly you want to retarget your customers when you acquire during Black Friday, right? So you can right away start creating segments. So we talked about creating segments ahead of time, right? But as soon as they purchase, you got new segments to create, which is the customers who bought during Black Friday 2021, right? People who use discount codes during that time, or people who pay full price. You can even do like higher AOV or higher sort of total spend during that time, and just segment them out that way. We talked about a bit of those one-timers, right? Like people who only purchased and haven't purchased since. Hey, like that could be another opportunity to send them another target to offer, right? Whether they've used discount or used a different full price. But again, like this doesn't stop, like it doesn't, because it's not just Black Friday unique segment, but it's like year round, right? Like you're continuing your journey to engaged lists, right? Like that is the ultimate goal. And because those lists are generally probably like outsized revenue for you, right? It's like 80-20 rule. A lot of times we do see a small percentage of customers generating like, the lion's share of the revenue for a given brand. So definitely don't sleep on that. All right, so we're going to change gears a little bit and talk about this really hot trend that we've been picking up lately, which is about buy now, pay later. So what we did is we actually looked at some of our top brands that have this payment gateway enabled, right? And so there's like several million orders are being analyzed here across 6 top brands. So what we actually see is that the majority is using Shopify payments, about 60%. Another about quarter is on PayPal, but Afterpay is the next one. So Afterpay is about 11% of the total orders are checked out using Afterpay. And this is like crazy when I saw this, which is just like across the brands, the customers who are using Afterpay during Black Friday are showing on anywhere between 10 to 20% higher AOV, right? And so this is like, we've got like a beauty store, we've got like a health store, clothing store, and these are first-time customers like sort of using Afterpay to check out, and the AOV is bearing out that they're higher, right? So they're definitely statistically significant. Another thing that I want to talk about is, well, you may say, well, maybe the lower quality customers, maybe they're just buy and then just on layaway, or they're not going to go away, they won't come back. But that's not true, like, because we actually looked at those customers again in the next 90 days. And the same story is kind of, the very similar story is bearing out, similar to the returning customers, is that people with Afterpay are actually coming back and purchasing more, right? Even than the people who are not using Afterpay. So on average, about 48% higher revenue for the customers who are using Afterpay versus not. And so this is like really interesting, right? Because like I think the Afterpay, having installments like just lowers sort of the pain, or like the price point. Like when something is like $100 or it's down to like $20 or 5 payments, whatever, it just looks a lot more appealing, and you don't think about it that much, right? And so there's definitely some good strategies you might be able to work it in this year as like a new customer acquisition campaign, or even for returning customers. So Carly, I mean, I know you have some really interesting tips for us to show. Like, how are we going to do this? How should we do this like more artfully, I guess?
Yeah, so I am a fan of, most of the time keeping it pretty subtle. So it could be a banner at the top of the email. It could be, in the footer of the email. It could just be a small portion of the actual email. And then the ones that I really want to talk about, though, are the full email, like buy now, pay later, whether it's Shop Pay or Klarna, whatever, that part doesn't matter. I added some examples here. And if you send these out before big sales like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, again, this is your chance to get people to come and buy before you give that big discount. So getting the most from your customer. And we can see that these people are spending more as well. So I really like, some brands you can send them out all year. So the one in the middle there, that's like the flashing peace sign, those guys have products that are $200, $300, $400 each. So for them, it makes sense to remind people about Klarna, about Afterpay all throughout the year. But again, before big sales, if you want to get the most out of the most money out of your list, sending stuff like this and then excluding those people from the sale is a way to squeeze a little bit more out.
And you can always segment those customers afterwards, right? Like if they checked out using the Afterpay or any type of Klarna payments, you can continue to drive this point home and then keep them separate from the rest of your list.
Exactly. That also reminds me, this could be really good to put in your abandoned cart flows as well. So on the back end, just in your initial setup for people who are not checking out, maybe one of those reasons is because they didn't like the price point. So having an abandoned cart email that's dedicated to this could more automate that situation. Or after Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you can even segment those people who added things to their cart and didn't check out and send them like a buy now, pay later. And here's the secret extended sale. You can still use your coupon code too. So throwing everything you can, even after Black Friday, Cyber Monday, if you segment down to those specific people, is a great strategy to move forward with if you have this option.
That's a great point. Yeah, like for higher priced items, for any like baskets they didn't check out, they can basically, we can still come in and try to get that sale using Afterpay. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, those are if you have any questions, feel free to type in the chat, and then we'll definitely get to them. So we definitely reserve about 15 minutes of Q&A after the presentation. So what do we talk about today, right? So I think first and foremost, I feel like we talked about segments, and we can talk about this all day, but like segment your customers creates more email revenue and better deliverability. So everybody should definitely be leveraging that to your advantage. The returning customers is going to be a really big part of Big Black Friday. So definitely don't go to sleep on your tenured customers. Like start warming up that list. It's like Carly was saying, re-engage them, space them out with different emails, content, get them excited, create some FOMO, and then once that big moment comes, then they will come back and pay and buy. And keeping in mind that the recency of the customers are different, right? So you definitely don't want to sort of let, if you don't segment well, you're gonna let that, you can't actually do a strategy where you give them the full price offer and then they see, oh, I'm just gonna get a discount later, and let me cancel that unfulfilled order, right? Those are the things that you need to keep in mind. And then we talked about buy now, pay later. We are seeing some of the data from last year, from the year before, basically that it could be effective for your brand. And so if you do have high priced items, or you are seeing people are sort of having high abandoned carts, that might be a good option for you to kind of give it a shot this year, right? Even though they do take a commission, but if it helps to turn customers into repeat customers and loyal buyers, then I think that it's well worth it, because we do see repeat customers and loyal customers are usually 7 or 6 or 7 times higher in terms of their lifetime value. Any final thoughts that you want to share with us, Carly, before we turn into questions?
No, I mean, you really covered it there. I actually see that there is a question about offers, so I can go ahead and speak to that one. It says, should we create a different offer for less engaged audience? And I'm answering the question live. I was just messing with the little pop-up that came in front of me just now. Sorry about that. So the answer to that question depends on what you mean by less engaged audience. If you mean people who have never purchased before, then you can definitely offer them higher value offers. So like I said, getting them to just get a free sample, like just pay shipping and handling, things like that. If you mean people who you are just re-engaging, like I said, I think you want to try and get them into that groove of, or you're in the mindset of get them to buy at the highest price if you can. You don't know exactly how these people are going to react. Try and send them the content. Try and send them the Afterpay type emails. Maybe you send them an early access with a low discount, and then they get the big discount as well. So I would run them, like re-engage them and then run them through that same sort of strategy. People have purchased once or twice, but not purchased for a year. Honestly, I would run them through the same idea. One thing I might do differently though, send them some plain text emails. You could even like literally write like a one-liner question just to get them to respond. Some brands don't want to have like customer service people ready to do that, but I think it's a really great way to get people engaged with you. So even if you can send them something like, hey, John, I just wanted to write you and let you know that that we've made these changes to our product, or we wanted to hear what your thoughts are this year, or like, hey John, what are you doing for Christmas this year? Like that is a big one where, lots of people might respond, and I don't know if you want to handle all those conversations, but if you get more personal with those people, they tend to respond better. And you can do a quick PS, like here's a discount just for you. Saw you haven't purchased since last year, but that you're still interested in our brand, or things like that. That answers your question, I hope.
Oh yeah, and there's one thing I forgot to mention actually, is that we will be creating some of those Black Friday segments that we talked about into our platform. So if anyone is currently a customer of Segments or are considering doing a free trial, we will be populating those segments into our platform starting next Monday. And so we will have it in time to start creating some segmented email to target your lists. So kind of forgot to mention during the presentation, that was going to be my big reveal. But yeah, we're going to do that for you. We're going to create those pre-built segments into the platform for anyone who starts a free trial, during this time, and also for any existing customers.
Awesome, that's great. Take advantage of that, definitely.
One of the things is like a lot of our customers do use Klaviyo, and then we are a Klaviyo partner. Is that I think creating those segments sometimes can be a little bit hairy or tricky, and so we definitely take the time to try to make that easy with data. And then we have Carly, who's our partner on the other side, who are creating these like beautifully executed flows and designs and campaigns and strategy that can convert. So yeah, it's a 1-2 punch of of holiday shopping conversions.
Yeah, it's nice to have those pre-made because it can get extremely time consuming to have to try and pull in information on AOV, or they purchased from Black Friday last year. So in Klaviyo, it's like, okay, they purchased from this email or this email or this email, and it can get quite complicated. So it is really nice that you have that capability to just kind of pop those in.
Where do you plan on spending your Black Friday this year, Carly? I'm just curious.
Oh, personally?
Yeah.
You know what? I never leave my house, so probably I'll be right in this room. Believe it or not, I am not an online shopper, so I help sell things, but I generally don't really buy things online. So I like to look at the emails, of course, but I'll just be hanging out with my little guy.
Yeah, my wife does all of the shopping. I mean, she's just like, she goes nuts on like, those times. She looks at all the emails, she looks at all the offers, and then, so it's like, what are you doing all day? She's like, I mean, there's so much more to look at.
That's so awesome. It's like the days of like clipping coupons, like printing out the emails.
I honestly think she gets a kick out of that stuff. So anything else? Do we have any questions? If not, we can definitely wrap early. We'll give a couple more minutes, I guess. So I guess for me, any questions you guys might have after the call? Oh, we do have one. Okay, let's see. Segment to Black Friday, I can divide new customers and returning customers. I think maybe it would be a good idea to follow up sometime later. Not sure how long should pass between, and if maybe it is good work method to give a little cherry on top, like limited offer after 7 days. Okay, purchase within 2 days. Okay, yeah. So I think that might be a question for you, Carly.
Yes, I'm just trying to.
So it's like, should they tier the different offers, right? Like, people who don't buy after 7 days, maybe they get like a different offer. So it's like you switch it up. Like you talk about variations a lot. I think I know in your strategy.
Some of the content you can send to both lists. You don't necessarily have to. The question disappeared. Oh, there it is. Okay. Some content, like I said, like just the plain content. It's like, oh, here's the reviews from our customers, or things like that. You can divide if you want to run different types of discounts, I guess, and see if that makes a difference. You can sometimes combine the strategies if you prime them early enough. Time passing between sending out the campaigns. So, it depends on the size of your list, how much you're actually segmenting. Like we have clients that literally will send 30 emails in a month, and that's a lot, right? But you don't want to hit every single person with every single one of those emails. And then we have some where they'll send out maybe 2 a week during this time. So there are a lot of different factors there. I mean, if you'd like, I honestly, the strategies are always so custom. If you wanted me to take a look and you wanted to actually talk about that, I'd be happy to talk through it with you. But it's a little bit difficult for me to give you the proper answer without knowing some of the specifics about your list and about your products and about your customers and all of those things. So would be happy to maybe give you that advice personally, but I'm having a little bit of a hard time giving you kind of an overview without enough information.
We have another question for you, Carly. Any email all-stars discount offer for segment users?
You know what? I would love to say yes, but unfortunately, we are so busy at this time. Like this is our busiest time of year. So it's like one of those things where if we take on, like if we offer discounts, it doesn't actually help our brand at all, unfortunately. And it's the same thing with you guys, right? Like you don't want to just offer discounts just to do it. So because we have such like a big influx of customers, we don't offer discounts at this time. But if you did want to work with us, I'm sure we could throw something in for you. I know we were doing free SMS setup last month. We could extend that to this month. So we'll get something figured out for you, but we don't necessarily discount our services.
The one thing that I'll say is that with our partners is that they are really familiar with segments, right? That's a major advantage because they already know how the software works. They already know how to use those filters. They already know how to use those syncs. So they can, versus someone who is sort of an outsider coming in, they have to pick it up or they need some help from our side to execute those campaigns. Our partners actually know how our software works. So the purchase timing, the cohorts, the filters, the syncs, they can already do all of those things. So there's definitely that angle as well, that advantage by being a sort of a segments partner.
That last question there, I don't know if you have any data overall that you can share on it, but from my perspective, that question again is very difficult to answer because it not only varies by industry, but it varies by the, level of experience that the person doing email marketing has. Like the open rates could be down because the emails are going to spam, or the click rates could be down because they don't have the right conversion points. The CTA is not above the fold. Like there are so many factors that go into that question and answering it that Klaviyo actually does have articles out from last year by industry that show the averages. And even in Klaviyo, you can go into the benchmarks tab and see like where you line up and with other people that they consider to be like in your kind of cohort. But to just give you an answer on that is very, very difficult. Again, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you, Brian. That is the article I'm talking about.
There are some, we do have one case study for a sort of welcome flow, like a abandoned cart flow, where someone, I know we pulled in some Klaviyo stats there for like sort of standard abandoned cart conversion rate. I remember Klaviyo put it around 2.9%-ish for like a welcome flow or like an abandoned cart flow. But in the case study, we were able to actually increase that by quite a bit just by executing some of those purchase timing strategies that I think Carly talked about before. And so there's definitely a lot of opportunity for improvement. Klaviyo gives you some decent enough benchmarks. But the thing about defaults that I always cringe is that the defaults are never right for your store, right? Like they're just somewhat, it's just a template. It's just a unintelligent number that one person came up with, right? It's like, oh, we're just gonna wait 14 days. Nobody stopped to question like, why is it 14 days, right? So there's a lot of opportunity to improve by actually using data to your advantage, because that's already sitting in your Shopify store. You can, if you took some time to analyze it and look at when people are actually purchasing, you can do a lot better than the defaults, right? Like, you don't have to use segments. You can do it yourself. You can do it just by downloading the Shopify emails and doing it in Excel and pivot tables. But if that becomes too hard, like, you can leverage the free trial, right? Like we have a two-week free trial from segments. absolutely use that to your advantage. Get a lot of the insights and then try some of the campaigns. I think you'll find they do make a difference.
One other note on that question about open rates, you've probably heard about the new policies or the new update that Apple rolled out. And so we're actually seeing open rates inflated right now, artificially inflated, because they're opening the email to download the images before somebody actually opens it. So we are less and less being able to rely on open rates now, and it is more on like click rate and conversion rate. So I did just want to note that quickly, that open rates are really not nearly as reliable as they used to be.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I can grab that article too. Something important to know.
Okay. So we will be, I think, sending out the links to the recording after the call. And I think we can include the contact information for how you want to, if you want to reach, if you have other questions and you wanted to reach out, definitely, we'll have our contact information back in that email. So don't worry about like writing it down or anything like that, but like we'll send it out for you. But happy to talk segmentation, email strategies. If you have any other questions, just hit us up, and Brian will be sort of collecting all the responses, and we'll definitely get back to you.
Thank you so much. This was great.
Yeah, I really appreciate everyone's time. Like, thanks for spending an hour with us. We hope you have you crush your Black Friday this year. And yeah, awesome. Thanks so much.
Have a good day. Thank you, guys.